Hey everyone, Big Z here. Today we're reviewing how to assemble a Kleppstad from IKEA, Design and Quality IKEA of Sweden. So, for anyone unfamiliar with me, um, I am a constructor and a designer and an architect, both mentally and physically and spiritually. I have studied the Kleppstad in depth. I know its ins and outs, and I am something of a Kleppstad expert myself. If you are trying to assemble your own Kleppstad, you came to the right place. First, let's talk about the warnings. Okay. Children have died from furniture tip over. That's being displayed here. This little thing is sort of tipping on that little kid because he tried to climb it. So, always install, that. Never put a TV on the Kleppstad. This is a common rookie mistake here, right there. Don't allow the little kiddos to touch it either. And if you're opening more than one drawer door at a time, you're asking for it, man. You're asking for it. Don't do it. Um, some of French and Espanoles. You can read that on your own time. Now, first we have this guy. This is my friend Herbert, who we are going to refer to as Herbert for the rest of this tutorial. Little known fact about Herbert. Herbert actually screwed me over from a promotion and got me kicked out of the company. Thanks a lot, Herbert. But he'll explain to us what we need. A ladder, that's important. We don't need a screwdriver, is what that X means. Um, no, wait, that actually might be the Phillips head. And then we got another thing, and it's just like a dot, you know. That'll be important later, just trust me. A pencil, a hammer, and you can use a drill, you can also use a screwdriver. Just make sure you have drill bits for 5/16 and 1/8. Oh, that'll be important later. If you actually do have a Glebstat and you're following along, make sure everything in this packet's there. Also, make sure that the door is locked in your room when you're building a Glebstat, or else the visitor will come. If you are unfamiliar with the visitor is an entity unleashed by IKEA whenever you order one of its products that watches you from afar. Just make sure you lock your doors there. This means don't do it alone. Get a friend if you're lonely. Hit someone up on Fiverr. Message me. My DMs are always open to assemble IKEA furniture together. Would be a fun date idea, maybe. This actually is Herbert because Herbert is now alone after everyone in his life left him. Good riddance, I say. This again, Herbert, little sad coward, doesn't know what's going on. Wife left him and he can't do anything right. Everything's all broken. Uh, don't do it on a hard tile, okay? You get a little nice rug, make sure your furniture is still nice. And if you're stupid, like Herbert is, you could, you know, watch this video. Now you're here in the right place. Hashtag Glepsad fans rise up. Or you could call IKEA, but we're gonna cross off IKEA and just say the Big Z YouTube channel because I always aim to provide my viewers with the best help possible. Next we have two doohickey things you need, a screw and four washers, and then like a really big screw, and then these are called mollies for all my unaware friends. We'll need these later on page 22, so keep up. Then here is all the things, my bobs that we might need, you know. Just count it up, make sure you have it all. It's important. And here's the overall idea with the Glepstad. Uh, we're gonna have three panels, one here, and then we're gonna have one here. And then there will be like these screw hickey things that'll go into each of the holes. Just make sure you're doing it right. You can see like this is here and this is at the bottom. This is actually done in Braille for blind people to help. to help them make IKEA furniture, assemble it together. Next, we have some car engine parts. Just screw those in with the screwdriver. That's important. And then you're gonna screw those into like um, the braille holes in the boards on your nice rug. Um, little little extra points if it's a Middle Eastern rug. Shout out to the boys in the Middle East making rugs. These are called pins, I think, and you just put them into the little holes on the sides here, 4 times. Just make sure you do that because then they'll connect later. Um, yep. See, what did I say? They connect. They connect later, and right here you see they connected into these shelves. So pay attention, guys. We're gonna do the same thing for these 3 little boards. And then after that, step 4, you need to decipher these 3 messages are encoded in Braille. I had to personally search up the meaning of these myself, these 3 tablets, so to say. And essentially what they mean is that you have to get a little turn screw and screw them into the boards while also singing Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. If you want to fact check me on that, you can go ahead and do that. But you're here at the Big Z YouTube channel. We only do things right. I'll zoom in a little closer for my blind and deaf viewers. Here, we attach a car engine part to the Wii. This is the Wii. You also put a Molly into the Wii. I know the Wii, the Nintendo Wii was not mentioned in the instructions, but you may want to consider grabbing one, attaching it here. Next, step 5, get 2 people, or alternatively, if you're alone like Herbert, you can just use both your hands and point to the top and the bottom. Just point it. We'll talk about those later. Next, more pins. And now we're doing the hammers. Shout out to the hammer. This is not really a screw, not really a nut or a bolt. It's kind of just it doesn't really have an identity. It's kind of going through it, much like I am actually. And you're just gonna hammer those in. Next, you want to essentially take this board and do a chair flip. For all my organic chemistry friends, this is actually referencing a chair flip or a chair conformation where we take a hydrocarbon ring and we essentially flip it to present an alternative formation of a molecule. This is just what's going on here, so don't worry about it too much. Next, you want a little baby screw, not a big screw, and you're just going to use that screwdriver again in whatever this is. And you're going to put it down there, and this kind of looks like the little iPod things from the first Star Wars movie. The things that helped out with like the pod racers. Shout out to my Star Wars fans, you know what's up. We're gonna call these pods from now on. So keep up. Now back when we were talking about Billie Jean or whatever, take that board and screw it into this board with the doohickey of Norway. I'm not sure if that was mentioned, but that is what it's called. It is called the doohickey of Norway. Screw in these pods into here where the braille says 1, just like the letter 1. I mean the number 1. Make sure you do that. That's important. Next, for step 9, you're gonna have to screw these in. Just as shown, it's kind of the same thing again. Next, for 10, this is a symbolic representation of the Battle of Thermopylae. For my uneducated viewers, the Battle of Thermopylae, um, most well known for the Greek stand against the Persian armies infiltrating, attacking at Thermopylae, where about 300 men, as legend says, defeated the Persian armies. This is the 300 men, represented as 1, 2, three, and then the Persian armies are shown off screen. But I'll draw a little bit to help you, grasp how monumental this is. So with that understood, um, IKEA actually presents an alternative history here, where the Persian armies flank and go behind the Greek armies here, and they unfortunately entrap and encircle the Greek armies, thus changing the history of the world as we know it. Um, Screw these in with the doohickey of Norway. Next, screw these in as well. There's a lot of screwing around that's got to go on, but here at the Big Z YouTube channel, we keep it serious. Next, we're going to take these beams right here, smash the mollies, or the little brown things. In real life, these are like tan, and they're like a little brown. If you're following along at home, you'll know exactly what these are. Just throw them in there. Next, we're going to take an eraser. I know the instruction says it's not, but this actually is an eraser. So if you don't have one, just head to Office Depot, get four big ones, um, and we're going to push those down into here. You may need to hot glue some pieces of little erasers. These are little erasers here. Just glue it on, attach them in there. And then next, you're gonna first point at it. That's an important step. And then you just slide it in. These two brown thingy mabobs are gonna go into these two holes there. Step 17, you're gonna do the same thing. And then 18, you are going to encounter the entity. Remember earlier what I said. It is a being that takes on many different shapes and many different forms that is sent by IKEA to you. Be warned, do not make eye contact with him. Just allow him to screw whatever he needs to screw, and stay out of his way. Do not talk to him, do not speak to him. He may want to potentially harm you, so just stay on guard for that, okay? Um, Also, there may be invisible body here with visible hands that's helping you out. That's part of the entity. Just allow the IKEA entity to do as he needs to. Help is welcome, but help is not, meant to stick around. So don't let him. He may ask to live in your home. Don't let him do that. Stare at his shoes until he leaves. Step 19, screw in the pods with the screwdriver. Step 20, little known fact, is actually a reference to the space race. So between the USSR and the United States during the heat of the Cold War, there was a soft competition for which nation could reach the moon first. Little known fact, neither nation actually did that. The first nation to do that was actually Bhutan. So shout out Bhutan for helping in the space race. Little known fact about history there. We don't really talk about it, but historians usually say that the USA got to the moon first or whatever. But IKEA is actually helping um to symbolize this here by comparing the USA with two versus the USSR with one, showing the inherent more stronger system of government, while also leaving space in between the lines, which Bhutan lives in. Hopefully, the entity does not live within your walls like Bhutan does. In case there are any Bhutanese monks in your walls, refer to a upcoming video I will be making explaining how you can handle that. Next thing, you want to get a little pair of clippers. Any nail clippers will work. And you just want to just start nailing those, like get a nail and start nailing in your nail clippers into here. Little baggie of screws. You can use those. Alternatively, you can also use flip-flops. Flip-flops do work. Little known fact. But flip-flops are actually a pretty historic little shoe here. A lot of people wore them back in the day. Shout out to my flip-flop users. Next, with these boards, you're just gonna nail them in. Pretty simple. I mean, just Make sure you want to press them together though. Like these lines help symbolize force. So to do a little better diagram, because I don't think IKEA does this really justice. Imagine we have a block here. That's this thing, and then that's enacting a force here. Let's label this Fn. This is a normal force. There's also a Fn here, another normal force, another normal force. And the idea is that we want these to cancel out, or alternatively, with the force we're actually going to press here with the screws, that'll keep everything together. There's a lot of torsion or um, structural friction, and it's really complicated. I mean, it'd take me forever to explain it, but just know the idea is that there's some force being pushed in here, but with all the screws we've done, this is going to be really secure, and the forces will eventually cancel out, and the arrows symbolize the forces. Um, I like the force. I'm actually really strong with the forces. I know all the forces. Like there's gravity and stuff too. I know the forces. Step 22, we're nailing. Step 23, we're nailing. Step 24, we're pushing. Step 25, the entity returns. However, he does bring along his wife, Clarissa. This is her canon name, as far as IKEA scientists are aware of. Clarissa is married to the entity. You see how her eyes, well, I'll try to zoom in a little for you guys, but see how her eyes are devoid of pupils? That's because she's not a real person, and she's actually fake and from another dimension that we are not entirely sure of. Like her husband, do not look at her. Don't make any comments at her. However, you do need to compliment her shirt. A little random. Don't compliment her jeans. Definitely do not compliment her shoes. Definitely not. Um, just stay on guard and compliment her shirt. But don't do it while the entity, her husband's around. Um, just don't take my word for it. Shout out Clarissa. And next, you want to take this pencil and you just want to start drawing a little doodle. Um, I actually have to do this digitally as well, or else the entity will come. I'm gonna draw just a little bit of cursive. So shout out to my cursive fans, if you can read cursive. Hopefully that'll prevent the entity from visiting me tonight. Now we're starting to get near the end here, guys. Step 27, you just want to look at this bag. Step 27 is actually the easiest step. This is supposed to symbolize you, not Herbert. Herbert's an idiot, and I hope he is not happy and he's not smiling right now. Next, point at these things, point at two of them, and draw a little X. Draw a little X onto your rug. Um, and next, just push the cabinet away from it. And if you do have a small child, make sure the small child leaves, or else that might tip onto them. That would be a gravitational force. So, I mean, to maybe model this better, let's imagine we have a big object here and we have a little scared child. So, if we enact a force, um, there's a gravitational force dragging this down, and there's also an opposite normal force counteracting the gravity that's keeping it, not from sinking into the earth. And when this force comes, there'll be a rotational motion. So, like FC, I think. So, rotational motion, you're going to have like a MAC, which is alternatively modeled as MVR. I think this is squared. Um, so, if we push from the top, it's going to go down even harder on little Timmy. So just make sure he's out of the way. I don't make the rules. Just make sure he's out of the way there. Um, Next, what you want to do is you actually want to pause this video right here and scan this QR code. That's an important step. Next, this is just a reminder that now you can unlock your door. the entity should not revisit your house once you've finished building. Next, I will be reading this in French. Les vies et les fichiers fournis peuvent être utilisés avec la plupart des mots pleins à ou des mots creux. Pour les voies massives, c'est utiliser les vessants légers. En cas de doute, adressez-vous à un professionnel qualifié. So, they say French is the language of love. And baby, Los Tornillos y tacos. Hey, tortillas and tacos. Yeah. All right. Now this is a multiple choice question. Hopefully you're not still in grade school anymore, and this will probably take you back. Classic multiple choice question here. This is a quiz to see what you've learned from this video. A, do we screw in like this, like with a screwdriver and going straight into the wall like this? Or alternatively, do we go around the wall and screw it through the wall, and so the screw is just hanging out there? We can easily eliminate this because the screw hanging out looks a little dumb. Question C is we're using a 1" 1/8 screw, so that's definitely not right. And there's also this wood thing. I don't remember a tree being in the instructions, so that's definitely wrong too. So I think A is the right answer here. Let me look at the answer key. Um, Sorry, the answer key is in the French, the Spanish, I mean. That's me, I'm the expert. Um, yes, yeah, A was right. See here, it says A. That means we're right. Great work. Going back to step 29, I lied. Our work wasn't quite yet done. We need to repeat everything we just did there. So everything we did here, we need to redo it. So take it out. Take out the entire lands, lesbad or whatever this thing's called. Take it out. Everything, take it out. Then rescrew it. And then push it in here. You know, we're exacting a force here. I know a lot about the forces. Now, potentially, depending if you did it right, um, it should just go in. There should be screws that come from the sky and screw it in. However, if you did not doing, if you haven't done anything right, then the entity will just come in with the ladder and he will hammer it down himself. Um, Alternatively, you could actually kill the entity here to prevent him from ever showing up to your house again by pushing him off the ladder. Of course, IKEA is bought out by a corporation and they serve the entity in its ulterior interdimensional motives, so they're trying to tell you not to do that with the X here. And they're really trying to tell you like it's a bad idea. This is just liberal corporate propaganda. Definitely do not listen to this. I'm gonna give a fat check mark to this and a big X to let him live. Definitely take out the entity while you still can, preferably with a long screw. IKEA wants you to try to use a little screw, but this is actually not very effective because uh, it's just not the best weapon for the job. So definitely use the larger screw to pierce his skull further. Next, you want to take a step back and really look at what you've done here. There's messages in Braille here. I've already done the hard work of translating. This roughly translates to um, The Fall Off by J. Cole. So, little known fact about IKEA, but they are massive J. Cole fans. And, you know, if you keep following these instructions, you will survive the let out as well. Next, this is a little interesting. So, with this eraser head, you kind of just want to shove it into here, into the screw thing, like right here-ish, like where the arrow is pointing. I'll draw a few more arrows to help you evidently see where the screw thing is. There's also one here, very sneaky of IKEA, but this is why you're watching the Big Z YouTube channel because I never let stuff like this slide. You also want to do the same thing here. And next, you want to grab this is a very simplified illustration of a crane. So you can rent one out for about like probably a few $100. And with this crane, you just want to borrow it just for a short time and help screw these plates in. This is a crane. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Step 35, we're getting near the end, guys. This is actually a transformer, so I know I said this is a car engine. I wasn't being entirely truthful there, guys. This is actually Bumblebee, so shout out Bumblebee. Little known fact about me, guys, my first word was in fact Bumblebee, because Bumblebee is sick and awesome and cool. This is actually him transforming, um, kind of. So Bumblebee may show up to help you get your cabinet doors going. So be on the lookout for that. However, he will drive away soon. You may also need to screw him into your cabinet, alternatively, if you don't want your cabinet doors to fall apart once he leaves. So step 36, we're nearing the end here. We're just screwing in some door handles. Very simple, guys, very simple stuff. And next, there should be a hidden button up here. If you press this button, a little plate of pills will appear. Do not take these pills, you will hallucinate, and there could be potentially fentanyl in these pills, and you could die. This is a little more information about how a transformer works. You will need to open your third eye in order to understand these, though. So good luck with that. And you know, just a little bit about safety and hygiene after it's all said and done. Caring and cleaning. Wipe clean with a cloth damped in a mild cleaner, and wipe dry with a clean cloth. So if you don't understand how IKEA works, it's actually based in Sweden, and this is actually a very poor English translation for what was originally said. The IKEANs actually originally wrote here, give us $500 and buy our Swedish meatballs. As a fan of Swedish meatballs myself, I do have to say shout out IKEA's Swedish meatballs. And that actually concludes my tutorial on how to assemble the Kleppstad. From this video, you either got consumed by an interdimensional being, or you failed miserably to assemble the Kleppstad. Probably because you didn't watch this video backwards at 2 times speed, as I said in the description. You should probably pay more attention next time, Bubby, before you watch videos on the internet. I'm going to investigate what noises are coming from my closet now, because they haven't stopped since an hour ago, and I'm very, very scared.